All right, so you're gearing up for a cognizant interview. Want to make sure you're not just ready for the questions, but that you really get what they're after. Well, that's what we're diving into today.
Yeah, these cognizant interview questions you sent over, they're really insightful. It's like a sneak peek into their priorities and the kind of work they're doing.
It's like a puzzle, right? And we're here to put the pieces together. So first up, a bunch of Power Apps questions right off the bat. What's the signal there? They're obviously looking for more than just someone who's dabbled in the platform.
It's about how you approach building solutions. Like they ask about Canvas apps versus model-driven apps. That's a big clue. Canvas apps are all about those custom, user-friendly interfaces. Imagine you're building an app with a really specific look and feel, something like a sleek inventory management system for, say, a fashion retailer.
So very tailored, very specific, makes sense. But when would you go for a model-driven app then?
Model-driven apps. Those are your data powerhouses. Think complex data relationships, intricate workflows. They're ideal for stuff like customer relationship management systems or even automating internal processes. If you're pulling data from multiple sources and need to build a system around how all that data interacts, model-driven is the way to go.
Which makes you think, right? This focus on both Canvas and model-driven, what does that tell us about the kinds of projects Cognizant is tackling?
Exactly. It suggests they're working on a mix. Some projects need that really polished user experience. Others require robust data management and process automation.
It's like they're giving us a glimpse into their playbook a little bit.
And it gets even more interesting. See, they don't just ask if you've used multiple data sources with Canvas apps. They want to know how you've done it. That speaks volumes about the kind of work they do.
It's not just about making a pretty interface, it's about connecting it to where the real data lives.
Right. Imagine pulling data from, say, an old Excel spreadsheet, a SharePoint list, and a cloud database all at the same time. That's the kind of integration challenge they're probably dealing with.
And that is a seriously valuable skill set to have these days. Okay, before we jump away from Power Apps, there's this one question about delegating problems. I'll admit, it sounds a bit intimidating at first.
Oh, don't worry. It's not about passing your work off to someone else. Think of it like this. When you're building a complex app, sometimes you need to break a problem down into smaller pieces and let other parts of the system handle them. It's about efficiency and knowing when to bring in the right tools for the job.
So it's kind of like being a project manager, but for your code. You're delegating tasks to get the best performance.
Exactly. And that kind of thinking, seeing the bigger picture, breaking down complexity, that's what they're looking for.
And it also tells you they're realistic about what Power Apps can do on its own. Sometimes you need to integrate with other services or tools.
You got it. It's that deeper understanding that really makes a candidate stand out.
Now, this next question, I have to admit, it made me chuckle a little.
Yeah.
I have two developers. How can they work on Power Apps projects together? Like, together, collaborate. Is that a trick question?
It might seem obvious, but it reveals something important about Cognizant's culture. They're looking for team players. People who get that software development is rarely a solo endeavor. Version control, communication, collaborative problem solving, those are all essential.
So being comfortable with, say, Git or Azure DevOps, that's just as important as knowing